Hi, my name's Adam and welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today is week 3 in our mini-series and we're going to cover off analyzing your spending. Spending is obviously a big issue when it comes to your budget and finances and being able to afford and save for retirement. So we're going to look at ways to help you in analyzing your spending and changing habits moving forward. But before we jump into the content for today, I want to remind you, if you haven't already downloaded our free Retirement Ready ebook, we have a link below. It's absolutely free and we'll give you some tips and tricks and strategies to retire with more money on time and just some things you haven't thought about. So download that, absolutely free for you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We launch a new video every single week and you'll get a notification when we put those videos out. So as I mentioned, today we're going to cover off analyzing your spending. Now, in Canada, we have some of the highest income in the world, yet we save some of the smallest percentage of our income in the world. So why is that? It's because we spend too much, and in many cases, we spend way too much. So we need to figure out how to analyze our spending, bring it back in, and then monitor it ongoing. So let's go through that. The first step is to review where you've been spending your money. Most of us have no clue where we're spending our money if we end up spending too much. So we need to rein it back in. If you don't know where you're spending your money, it's going to be hard to figure out, where to stop spending money. So make sure you understand where your money is going so that you can realign your budget to start spending less in certain areas. The best way to figure out where you're spending your money is to just go back on your credit cards, debit card, and it takes some time. It's a very tedious process, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to save you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every single month, depending on your income and lifestyle. So go through your credit card statements for at least 2 months, and that'll give you a good kind of understanding of where you're spending your money. Make sure you track everything. If you're someone that spends money with cash, if you make purchases with cash, make sure that you go back and try and remember as much as you can. If you're a huge cash user, then we recommend going forward the next 2 months. So track it for the next 2 months going forward to get a really clear breakdown on where you're spending your money. It's key to make sure that you don't forget anything. The other thing most people forget about is the one-time spending. It might be Christmas bills, property taxes. So any of the big spends that you have only maybe once or twice a year, make sure you include those as well and just prorate those over the full 12 months. So step 1 is review your current spending. And again, this is a tedious task and it will take some time, but it's really the foundation of analyzing your spending and getting your budget back on track. The second part is to change your spending habits. So now that you've analyzed your spending and you know where your money is going, we need to analyze where you're spending too much money. So you could Google, ask friends, coworkers, how much do they spend money in certain areas. If you're part of our masterclass, we actually have a spreadsheet that will really walk you through and show you exactly what you should be spending based on your income in each category. So that's super helpful. So if you're a masterclass member, jump into there and get that spreadsheet to walk you through this next process. If you're not a member, you can become a member. We'll put a link below in this video. So the strategy that we have found that works best for our clients and for me personally is not dive into the whole budget all at once. So you probably have 5, 6, maybe even up to 10 different categories where you're spending a bit too much, or you could cut down. What we recommend is to focus on 1 or 2 things each month. Okay, so this month it might be eating out and it might be, telephone, internet bills. So you might have to call, say, TELUS or Shar or wherever you live, whoever's providing your internet and TV. Maybe there's a better package. Maybe there's a package that fits your need better that could maybe save $20, $30, $40 every single month. Maybe you're spending too much money going out for dinners, or maybe it's Starbucks or whatever it is. Focus on that. So work on those for the next month or 2 until you start creating new habits. Once you have those in line, continue to work on those, but add 1 or 2 more things onto that budget. So it takes about 6, 12 months to get that budget back on track, but working on 1 or 2 at a time will make it so it's not so cumbersome. If you jump into the whole thing at once and try and change everything, it will not work. So take a step back and focus on 1 or 2 things within your budget where you can trim back $10, $20, $30 a month, maybe even $100 a month or more. So again, focus on 1 or 2 and every single month or two, add in 1 or 2 more items. So by the time you've hit a 1-year mark, everything in your budget is back on track, and hopefully you've cleared up hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every single month to put back into retirement, maybe saving for trips, a new home, a vacation property, whatever it is that you want as important to you, but you've freed it up in your everyday budget. So to recap, step 2 is changing your spending habits. And again, this is a tough one. It might impact those around you. If you start going out for dinner less, it impacts your spouse or whoever you go out for dinner with, but it's a long-term plan. You have other things on the agenda, and that is to save for retirement, save for more trips, other items you want to put money towards. These changes are necessary to make that happen. So it's a short-term pain for long-term gain. So make those steps, again, focus on 1 or 2 every single month and just hammer home on those. Don't worry about the rest. Add them in down the road once you've got the first few settled. The last part about analyzing your spending is to monitor it ongoing. So you've made changes to your budget. Maybe you're a year into this thing and you've worked on the 5 or 6 different aspects of your budget that you decreased on, and you're saving $200, $300, $500 every month. Now it's important to continue to monitor it. So you should be monitoring a budget for 2 to 3 years until you have it dialed in. So my wife and I, we live on a loose budget now because we have it really dialed in. We don't worry too much day to day. I do track it at the end of every month just loosely, but because we've been on such a tight, strict budget for so long that we know exactly where our money is going. But it's important that because you've made changes to your budget, that you now track it for a year or 2 and make sure you stay on that budget. Make sure that your spending habits don't ramp back up in certain categories. So monitoring it is very key to make sure that you have success long term. There are many different ways to track your budget. There's online tools like Mint, there's an Excel spreadsheet, there's so many different ways. If you just Google it, if you want to do it online, most banks now also have some sort of tracker. Just make sure that anywhere you spend money is tracked to that certain program. A lot of times your bank won't track in other expenditures, and it also doesn't track cash. That's also the downfall of it. So I personally use an Excel spreadsheet. It's old school, but it works. I like it. But if you want to use more of an automated process, there are lots out there. So just Google search it. We don't necessarily have a favorite. Mint's probably the most popular out there right now, but I know a lot of the bank ones that they offer are becoming more in depth. You can link in different accounts as well. So check those out. But whatever it is, find something that works for you. There's no right answer to this. There's just a answer. And that's, make a decision, choose something, choose a program that works for you. For clients that we had a tough time, getting their budget in line, what we ended up doing is doing a cash budget. So what that is you grab a bunch of envelopes, you label each envelope, whether it's groceries or, dinner's out or whatever it is. So each category within your budget gets an envelope. And at the beginning of each month, you put the allocated money in that budget. When the envelope's empty, that budget area is done. So you have to be very conscious on where you're spending your money. That's another good way of tracking. It's a completely different way, but if you have a tough time with the online programs, maybe the Excel isn't working for you, move to a cash budget. It does work. We've used it with many clients and we've had great success with that. So that is the other option as well. So to recap, step 3 is to monitor your spending ongoing. So you've analyzed it, you've made some changes. Now you need to make sure you monitor for at least 2 to 3 years to make sure that your spending habits become habits. So again, there's no right answer in how to monitor it. It's just that you do something to monitor it. Again, it could be a cash budget, it could be an online program, it could be Excel, it could be anything, but make sure you choose something to track that ongoing budget. Hopefully videos like this help you take action in changing your budget and changing your spending. Too many of us are not saving enough. You should be saving 10 to 15% of your income. Most of us save about 2 to 3%. So we need to be saving more of our income. And the first and only way to do that is to spend less. So our spending really drives everything else in our financial world. So, a lot of us will watch this video and just push it off and say, yeah, I'll get to that later. But it's so important to own in on your spending to make sure you have a strict budget and to make sure that you're saving enough for future you. We meet so many people in their 50s and 60s that get to retirement, they knock on our door with $100,000, $200,000. And we just, you can only do so much for someone in their 60s when they haven't saved anything for retirement. We try our best, But at the end of the day, we can't build $1 million nest egg within a few years for them. It's just not possible. So you need to make those changes now in your budget, in your financial management of your household income to make sure that you start saving more for the future. So the target should be 10 to 15% of your income should be saved for retirement and down the road. Thanks again for watching today. I really do hope that you take action on this. Start saving more. If you have success stories on actions that you've taken, you're saving 10, 15% of your income, leave a comment below. We love to hear those stories. And of course, if you haven't downloaded our free Retirement Ready ebook, links below. And of course, hit the like button. That really helps our video get out to more people so that they can hear this content, start saving more money, and have more money for retirement. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.